How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, because it's your boy ScrubGames, and today I'm back with yet another deck profile, and this one going over Dabura swap, because even though it hasn't really changed much, it did get one very nice piece of equipment in the new promos, being that new Towa one, giving it a extra card to extra swap target, well, not swap target, but a starter for swap, and also an extra kind of way to win through being a champer for the deck, which every deck lost champer, and some ones have a archetype focus one, and this one got in the form of the new promo. So there hasn't been too much to change, but it has made a difference. So I thought I'd just bring my updated list for it, and see what you think. But before we do get into the video and check out the list of stuff, do feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Keeps you updated with my all my content. And also, as well as that, it helps out the channel greatly because we're on our way to 1,000 subs, coming up to 3/4 of the way there, and trying to get there by the end of the year. And every little helps, and it's much appreciated as well. And as well as that, you can also click the notification bell to get alerts to when the videos do drop, so you can watch them straight away, or know that they're there, available to watch later at a different time. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the list and check it out. So, how we normally do, we start off with the leader, and the leader is quite interesting. But it's not amazing, but it's quite interesting though. And we'll go over what it does. So on the front side, it has a auto, which is when this card attacks, look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 black Evil Wizard, Black Demon Realm Race, or Black Demon God card among the 2 hand and shuffle your deck. So like we've had with other decks where they get like a little bit of searching, this leader gets a bit of a search on the leader swing on the front side, which is really nice. And the only other skill it's got is an Awaken condition, which is pretty cool because it's when your life is 4 or less, or your opponent's leader back is facing up. So if you're awakened, so if you're at 4 or less life, or your opponent's leader is awakened because they're flipped over, then you get to draw 2. Add cards from your life until you have 4 life left, and then flip this card over. So you get straight on the 4 to make your super combos live, which is fantastic. And you also draw 2 new cards because it would be nice to have the 1/1, the mid-range one, but nope, we've got the draw 2, which we get what we're given, and it's still quite decent because it keeps your hand size healthy, even though this deck doesn't have the greatest hand size. And then when you do awaken, you're now Demon God Dabura, up Diabolical Awakening. Now your auto is, instead of swinging and searching for quite a varied amount like a majority of your deck, you now just swing, when you attack, draw a card. So you replace that nice little bit of searching, which you should rarely, very, very rarely whiff off, to now just guaranteed advantage by getting a draw. You also then come with 2 new skills, being Activate Main and Activate Battle. The Activate Main, and they're both once per turn as well, but the Activate Main costs 1 black as the cost, and you get to play up to 1 black Unison card with no specified cost, and 20k power from your drop area with a marker on it in rest mode. And at the end of the turn, you send that card to its owner's warp. But the nice thing about that is, if the card's not there by the end of it, then you don't send it to the warp. It just stays wherever it is, which normally in the drop. But it just means that even though you kind of rely on your Unison for your swapping stuff, you're not without it. You can always pay an energy to get it back from the drop to make sure if they just focus on getting rid of it and you're awakened, boom, get your Unison back to do your, so you're not hindered by not being on a swap. We also have Active Battle, which also can make use of Unison, even get that last marker after you've done all your swap shenanigans, which is once per turn, Spirit Boost 1. This card gains 6k power for the battle, so that can be used offensively or defensively, so you've got a nice niche there, and all it is taking a marker for Unison, which is next to nothing really. So as a leader, nothing really impressive, but it does help with being there for your shenanigans and stuff. So then we'll go into the actual deck itself. So these are the main things. First off, we got the Unison. So the card we kind of need on board to do our swap stuff, because for some reason Bandai just seemed to look at it and see swap's pretty good. It's a pretty good skill. We need to update in the rules stuff, but then if we put in black, we need to kind of make it more costly. I seem to do that with black and green. I like to make it a bit more costly. I feel like it's going to be too busted if they just put it normally in the deck. But this is a very good Unison for it as well, because it's just Empower Black 2. So if you play this over a Unison as black, you get to take 2 markers from that Unison as well. It's no specified cost and 20k, so it matches the criteria for the leader. And also, it's got a permanent wave. This card has 3 or fewer markers. It can't attack, so it means that unless you're paying one, you can play it down for free because it's got no specified cost. You can just play it down for free. If you play it over Unison, you get those 2 markers from it, or up to 2 markers from the previous Unison. But if there's no Unison, you don't empower, you just go straight to drop. And if you pay 1 for it, you can get the free and then +1 to actually be able to attack. But then the nice thing about it is you can play it for free over previous Unison just to keep those markers and then use the plus effect. It's only got 1 marker skill, which is plussing. It also does have an auto, which is quite nice as well, which is once per turn, when you play a black Demon Realm Race card using swap, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less and 2 turn as warp. So you get a little bit of removal built into it just by doing your whole mechanic, which is really nice. Then we've got the +1, which is activate main, choose 1 card in your hand, place it at the bottom of your deck, and then draw 1. So you only plus on this skill by the markers, that's it. But you get to filter through your deck, kind of like fix your hand, just bottom deck card that's dead in your hand, and then draw a brand new card. That's not too bad. We play 4 copies of this because you need to find it. You ideally want to start this turn 1, so mulligan hard for that if you do. Then we've got the next best card in the deck being Dabura, the King's Summon. So this is your normal turn 2 play. Normally it's turn 1 Unison, turn 2 Dabura to start off, kickstart off your stuff. Because it's a free cost 15k, which is not really, well, not too relevant, but it's mainly its effect, and that is activate main. For 2, if your leader is black, if your leader is a black Demon Realm Race card, which Dabura is on both sides, and you place this card from your hand and 1 card from your life in your drop area, so you're losing a life and you're losing this from hand, but still, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a very good effect for what comes up next, because that's all the cost. You send 1 black card from your opponent's drop to the warp, so a bit of grave control, and then play up to 2 black black battle cards with Evil Wizard and/or Demon Realm Race with an entry cost of 2 and different character names that aren't Mecha Dabura cards from your deck. Then shuffle your deck, and you can activate the activate skill on copies of this card for the turn, which is not really a hindrance, that last bit, because you're not going to have enough energy really to play more than 1 a turn, even if you could. So yeah, so it's essentially pay 2, discard this from your hand, crit a life to play 2 2 cards that start off your swap chain. So like one of the 2 cost or less swap card, little cards that helps start off your swap. And there's a fair few of them because we've got 3 different swap chains in this because they're actually quite good, and it gives you the opportunity, since you can't get the same one off 2 of the same one from this, you have to get 1 of each, and they can all provide their little niche benefits, which we'll see shortly. But we play 2 copies of this because these are the 2 you want to be mulliganing for, because you want the, as I said, the Unison turn 1 to get the Unison play ready, because it's then 20k. You then should have 2 markers after that, help your hand a little bit, and then you want Mecha Dabura, so for turn 2 you can use the effect to start doing your little swap stuff and start putting some aggro on, because this is supposed to be an aggro deck. So start off with the first of these nice little swap chains. We start with the poutine one. So there's quite a few different poutine guys you can put in this as well, and there's some good ones in. So we start with the one that starts off the chain being Poutine Annihilation at Hand. I think all of them are Annihilation at Hand at the start. I think they got similar names. But this one is a 1 cost 4k, and it's swap effect. It's swap free, Spirit Boost 1 by choosing 1 card in your hand at a place at the bottom of your deck as the cost. So knock them off from Unison, bottom deck card from your hand to play out a black Poutine card with entry cost of 3, and there's a lot of different targets for it. So if you want to try some tech ones, if you want, because you got the one from that mainly playing yellow, if you want to have that stun, you can go for that. I don't personally do it because I'm trying to go aggro, not like control or anything like that, so we just stick with the normal good ones. But it does also have an auto, which is when this card is played, so that will trigger off Mecha Dabura. It's just 1 played, not played from hand, it's just played. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 black Evil Wizard, Black Evil Wizard, Black Demon Realm Race, or Black Demon God card, or 1 black Unison with no specified cost among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So let's find another copy of Unison if you want to get another one, try and get more markers and more cycling. And also, it looks, even though it's top 3, it looks for a majority of your deck, which we've got a lot of type. You should rarely whiff off this, but it is possible. So this is one nice little one to search, even though it does place a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck for this Spirit Boost, you're still plussing when you play out this, which is quite nice. So we've got 3 copies of these because we want to make space from all the chains and not do too much of some, too little in others. We want to be like fair, so that way you got enough targets, so you don't have to draw into them. Then we've got 3 copies of Demon God Poutine, and we'll minus the only swap target we play for Poutine because it's a fantastic one. It's a 15k free cost with blocker, It's also got Dark Overwhelm free for 1 energy if you want to do Overwhelm it, which you can do in your deck, in this deck if you wanted to get every one of these out. And it's also got an auto, which is when this card is played from your hand, which it will do from swap. You play 1 Demon Realm Soldier token, which is a 0 cost 5k combo, or 5k power. And the token's relevant because it also helps you trigger the activate battle. And a nice thing about this card as well is that the token negates for black are also Demon Realm Soldier tokens. So those, if you don't use them defensively after dropping some, you can use them for this, or even in the same turn use them for this. Because an activate battle is once per turn, choose one of your Demon Realm Soldier tokens and remove from the game as the cost. Draw a card that switches card to active mode and it gets 10k power for the battle. So it means that you can get, this is essentially a dual attacker with one attack being 25, the other being 15, or a 25k swing and then leave it as a blocker. And as well, you also draw a card off it, so you're getting a bit more draw power from this, which is quite nice. I think most of this targets do draw in some way, shape, or form, and this does it for the activate battle. So that's the Poutine chain, the Poutine swap chain. So then we go on to the next one, being Dabura, and we've got 2 different ways to start the swap chain for Dabura, and that's Dabura Ready to Strike, which is the promo for this deck. So this is one of the TP promos for that this deck will support him. And the other one is Dabura Annihilation Hand, and this is a super combo swap. Now you might be thinking, why do you want a super combo swap when this card, as you can see, has no auto, I mean it doesn't draw? Well, the great thing about this is that it's a searchable super combo, because you can play it out. It's a 15k beat stick, so you can swing it first and swap back. And also, even though it has Spirit Boost 1, the super combo, the Dabura swap allows you to not need to put a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to add it back. So you're not negging from it, you're just bringing it out, taking a mark off unison, put it back, get out with Dabura, and then you've got a super combo in your hand ready. Even though it's not doesn't draw, it's still a free 10k when you want to put pressure on. That's very good. So it's a very nice one, and it's one that's searchable to get without needing to draw into it, which is cool. And the other one is got the same one. It's got the same thing, swap 4 into Spirit Boost 1, but you need to once again bottom deck a card from your hand to be able to do it. But you go into, so they got the same kind of thing, except this one, Ready to Strike, means you got a bottom deck a card from hand as part of the swap, whereas the super combo doesn't. And the the Ready to Strike one also has a auto, which is when this card is played, your opponent may choose 1 card in the hand and set to a warp. You might be wondering why would they do that? Well, if they don't, you get to choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards in rest mode, or up to one of your opponent's battle cards when she goes to 4 or less in rest mode, and it can't attack until the end of the next turn. So bringing this in while being aggressive after your opponent's awakening and then choosing the lead, they're normally going to want to warp a card from hand, so that way they can still attack with their leader next turn and not be locked out of attacking unless they can awaken or flip over after you use the effect. It's a nice little thing. Either makes them warp a card or you put like a little bit of stun on them, which is normally exclusive to like yellow, which is quite interesting. So we got 2 and 3. 2 and 1 because we don't have too many super combo ones. We want to get some actual super combos that draw, but then we also want enough swap cards to go up further into the Dabura chain. So we got 2 and 1. Then we got 3 copies of Dabura, or Demon God Dabura Umbral Mites. This is the one that these two swap into, and the only real target really that they swap into, unlike Poutine who has many different ones. And this one does have a Dark Overwhelm, but it's not worth running for that effect because it's too costly for what it is. You can just do it for the swap chain. And it's also, because it's a 4 cost 20k, which is a decent stats. When this card is played, draw 1 card and then your opponent chooses 1 card in the hand and says to warp. So you make so essentially if you bring out a super combo, you make a 2 card difference between you and your opponents in resources, because you get put out the Dabura from the Mecha Dabura. Hopefully every target like Poutine has replace that card in your hand that you had to, just place itself in your hand. And then Dabura gets to attack with the 2-drop, bounce it back to hand, so you got super combo, knocking a marker off, bring this out. Then you draw a card to replace, to add a card, so you've +1 there. And then you make your opponent warp 1 from hand, so you've plussed in there in denying them resources, which is cool. So a 2 cost difference in that, which is not too bad. And even then, a 20k beat stick is still not too bad when you're being in an aggressive deck. So that is that. Then on to the last of the 3 chains we got, involving most of the Demon Realm race. We've got is the Towa one. So we've got a new promo. So this is the Towa Dark Demon Realm Madness. Now let's just quickly have a look and see what this actually does, because it is relevant to the deck. So what it basically does is it's a 2 cost 15, so able to be played off of Mechakabura. It's got deflect and critical, so it's critical pressure from um, Mechakabura, so it's a nice bit of crit pressure from that. And also deflect means it can't be stopped, which is very nice. Just a shame that you can't get too off the Mechakabura, because that would be pretty sick. And it's swap free, just like how the super combo has like a little benefit of not needing to bottom deck a card. This has that same thing, but also not needing to have a unison to swap, because it's just literally swap free, limit 1. Towa with energy cost of 3, so you get just swap, no unison, no bottom decking card. So it's like the even further beyond getting better than the super combo one, which is really good. So if you get out the Dabura and Towa, and from your two from the Mechakabura, you then get to go ahead and not lose anything from hand to swap out, and just take one marker off your unison thanks to the Dabura. That's it. And then you got a super combo, and you got this, but not before attacking with them both, because they're 15k, and this one's 15k crit. It also has a nice little auto when this card is played. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it sends it to his owner's warp. And this card gets 5k power for the turn, making it a 20k attacker with crit, which is still really, really good. And then you've got the added benefit of its effect of being able to use it one hand, which is Auto Spirit Boost 1 for 1 black. So this is effect, you have to take a mark off Unison for this effect and pay 1 black. And if your Demon Realm Race or Demon God card is in battle, when this card is using the combo, your card that's in battle gets 10k power and double strike for the battle. So if you swing with any one of your Demon Realm Race or Demon God cards, and then combo this, you can pay 1 black, take a mark for Unison, to then give the card 10k power and double strike for the battle. You can use as a finisher. This is like a much more improved champer for this deck. When you play 2, because once again, the deflect is limit 1. Well, the swap is limit 1, so you can only swap out once. It does have deflect to give that protection, nice critical swing, but also you can't get the same card out twice from Mechakabura, and if you could, you can only swap once. And you just need to get one out from Mechakabura to search it, so if you use Mechie on turn 2 and get this out, you've then got it in your hand ready for a later swing, even going in with your leader as well, because it's very hard to get out of a leader attack, except by comboing out. So you got two of that, and you don't really need too many, because it can clog as well, because you do still need to pay an entry and have a unison on board, which can also, if people know how to play properly against this deck, can kind of hinder. Then we've got the other target for Towa being 2 copies of Towa Annihilation Hand. This is essentially the same thing as the Poutine 1-drop, except for the fact that it's a 15k body. It does the same thing apart from, yeah, it's a Towa, 2 costs and 15k. So the Poutine has a pretty good one it can go into, but the Towa actually allows you to put some pressure in with attacking this before swapping out, and does the same thing in looking at top 3 to either find you one of your many battle cards, or the unison you play from the top 3. So yep, so we play 2 copies of those just in case you don't already have a Towa, or say you've already got one in your hand and the other one's in life. Just more options, because Towa is one of the best chains for this. And then it swaps into Demon God Towa Umbral Might, and we got 4 copies of this because we also have 4 copies of the cards it can swap from. Well, that can't swap into it, because it's like one of the better chains, because this one is a free cost 15k with dual attacks. So you get 2 attacks out of this one swap, so you can get from the 2-drop attacking, and then this one 3 attacks out of one kind of chain without really spending much energy, which is really nice. And it also has a nice little auto, which when it's played from your hand, you draw 1, so you're plussing from that. And then your opponent may choose up to 2 cards from the battle, 2 of the battle cards and/or cards in the hand and send to their warps. But if your opponent sent only 1 or fewer cards to their warp using this skill, you get to choose up to 1 of their unison cards with 4 markers on it and gain control of it. So if your opponent's got a unison, they've got quite a few markers on it, you can make them lose a fair few cards from hand. Everyone should take a unison, and no one really wants to have a unison with 4 more markers taken from them. But at the very least, it's a dual attacking 15k that draws you 1 and gets you 3 attacks at one part of the chain, which is very good. So that is the Towa. Then we've got our super combo that actually draws, and we've got Demon God Gravy, Imperial Warrior. You do have to be at 4 or less life to use this, but at least it's a searchable super combo of many of the things that look for Demon God cards, so you're not kind of whiff it. You got less chances to whiff, because you want to whiff as little as possible in this deck, since a lot of it's trying to neg you just to do its thing. And since you can awaken when your opponent's awakened or when you're at 4 less life, and then go down to 4 from the auto awakening, you're going to be able to use this, and just use this super combo and charge the energy if need be as well. So that's that. Then we got 2 copies of Sun Gohan Hostile Staying Encounter. This is just very good negate. Just combo this off when you're being aggressive. Just put damage in or defensively defend yourself and have it in your drop, or even an overwhelm it and have it in your warp. And it's live to just have as a negate. And the great thing about this kind of Gohan rare is that if you use a negate to negate attack and it gets countered, you can still use this as from its auto to end up negating the attack as well by taking a life bottom decking card and playing this from your Warper drop. So it's a very good card. It's like a staple in all black decks, really. Then we have 4 copies of Supreme Kai of Time, Space-Time Guardian of Space-Time. So since you can have quite a low hand, or like not have the hugest hand like most decks do, because it's a black deck and it's a swap deck that tries to neg you, you have 4 copies of this, because then when you got a low hand, you can turn 5k power into 10k power. I mean, you've got a lot more aggressive combo power to like push in, like be very aggressive because it's an aggro deck, or defend a little bit easier even with a low hand by getting like some free extra 10k combos, which is quite nice. So 4 copies of these. Then we've got 2 copies of Barlock Awakened Instincts, the overwhelm, because it's a really nice one. It allows you to just, it's a free overwhelm at 4 and be 20k power as well, and allows you to filter for your deck by when it's used for overwhelm. Then you draw 2 cards and discard a card from your hand, and it's better to discard than warp because sometimes you might want to drop your unison in your drop so your leader can play it, or at least have it there for your leader to play it by paying 1 black as well. Because if you send it to your warp, it's less useful, whereas at least by discarding the unison, it could be handy in that kind of way, or even just fix your hand as well. So we've got 2 copies of those because we don't want to clog too many. We don't want too many cards that aren't search targets to kind of clog up the deck. And then we've got our secret rare being Pan Time Patrol Maiden. You can spam battle cards up on the board. If your opponent puts any on board as well to help you, you can make this free. And you really don't be paying energy for any secret rare, because of the fact that you're using energy to do your swap chains, trying to use that as your main function. And this is the cheapest one, being able to come down for free. And even if you need it as well, it's a great one defensively as a secret rare. Like, this is one of the best secret rares, really, I feel, in the game, because you got very nice versatility in being aggressive and defensive as well. So that is the battle cards. Then we got extra cards, being 2 copies of Attack of the Demon Dark Empire. So if you manage to somehow not open with a unison, or not have a turn 1 play at least, then you've got your Attack of the Dark Empire's way to do it. And at the very least, this card can be charged or discarded, which is nice. But it's a nice little extra card because activate main if your leader is a black Demon Realm race card. You get to look at up to 7 cards on top of your deck, then choose 1 or 2 effects. So digging 7 is very, very good. It looks for a big chunk of your deck, so you're more likely to find what you've not mulliganed for. And you get to either add a black evil wizard, black demon realm race, or black demon god card among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. So you get to grab a piece that you're missing or need from the top 7. Or if you have no unison in play, which you'll be playing this if you didn't draw into the unison, you get to play 1 black unison with no specified cost and 20k power among us with a marker on it and shuffle your deck. So it's like extra, it's sort of like an extra unison for turn 1 essentially. So that's quite nice. Then we've got 2 copies of Petrification, just a good negate, and it's like one of the few, or I think only ones really, that could stop pending autos from resolving. And as well, it's just a nice negate. At the very least, you can charge it or discard it. It's just black doesn't have too much in terms of great defensive stuff, and we got the other ones that we can use that are quite great. We just need extra ones to fill the deck. So Petrification is just a nice one to deal with some threats that this deck cannot really deal with. That's why we've got 2 copies. Then we've got 3 copies of Super Kamehameha. We want to make sure we're stopping floodgates that hinder us because they suck and we hate them. And the nice thing about this is that it's sensitive to warp, and you can play it for free, because if you go in a 4 less life, you can do it by, as long as all your energy is black and your leader's black, you can take a life instead of paying its energy cost to play it for free, which is very, very handy since you don't want to be wasting energy. Using counter players, you want to be just using energy for your swap to be as aggressive as possible, and using this for free is fantastic. So we play 3 copies of these because it's the only real good way to deal with floodgates in this deck. That brings us to the last card, being our 3 copies of Support Dark Empire. Just a helpful way to defend yourself. You can get aggro back, or if you just are breaking stuff, just help defend yourself. Be able to negate, play a token with blocker, and use that one as a way to defend yourself by stopping another attack. And it works really well with Demon God Poutine. If you got Poutine on board, you can use this in the attack, play a token, then block with the token, and then if your Poutines on board and say it's in rest mode because it's already blocked or already attacked last turn, you can then, when the token's in attack, use the effective Poutine to remove the token from the game, restand itself, and draw a card, and then the attack's then finished because you've used the effect to get rid of the token, and now you've got the Poutine on board as a blocker as well. So it's like little niches that once you start playing the deck, testing it, learning how it works, you start seeing these little cool combos and come up with situations, which is quite nice. And that is essentially the main deck. We will go on to this, the Z deck as well. We don't have a side deck for this. Well, not a proper side deck anyway. Still need to test it for the new format since things have changed. But our Z deck, we've got 2 SB Vegeta, just because we need to take life down if your opponent's not awake, you're not flipping over to have it, just because you've got different things you can have. There's not many good options for black. We're getting more and more sets go on, but it's not a big variety as we've got in every colours like blue and yellow and stuff like that. Then we've got 2 copies of Boom, Mash and Destroy. This is a very cheap one that once you turn 3 and onwards, you then get to have as a nice way to steal your opponent's stuff, and also a beat stick or even a blocker if need be. So 2 copies of these because he's got a limit 1 on the effect to take stuff. So yeah, we've only got 2 copies spread out. Then we got 2 of the Towa, which is for this deck, the nice anniversary, the Zenkai series support we got from the latest anniversary box. Is nice because it's got deflect. It does cost 2 Z energy, so you do have to combo 2 cards to Z charge for it, so it's quite costly in that aspect. It does cost 1 energy, but allows you to bring out another chain, and when you do swap once a turn, you get to, while it's on board, you get to draw a card, which is negligible, but is still decent. And yeah, you get to start off a chain by playing out a swap target for free by bottom decking a card from your hand, which is quite cool. You can do copies of that for the options, and then one copy of Demon God Dabura, Virgin Ally, just in case the situation comes up when this could be useful. You've got an area as possible, because once said, black doesn't have the greatest in terms of generic Z battle cards. These are the best ones we really have. So that is it. So with the deck, as I said with the earlier, the turn play progression is turn 1 play the Unison, get it out, plus up, bottom deck a card to draw a new one, and kind of hope it doesn't get killed. They don't go all into it turn 1 after you've only had 1 turn. And then next turn, drop Mechibura, creating a life, playing out 2, depending on what swap targets you've got into, what your hand is. You can go to any one, either the Poutine, one of these 2 Daburas, or one of these 2 Towas. But if you end up having a Dabura and Towa 3-drop and 4-drop in your hand, it's probably best to go into Super Combos in deck and the new TP, because they require you to not lose anything hand to swap. You do have to take a mark off your Unison for Dabura, but then the Towa provides removal and crit pressure. And they're both, well, the Dabura is 15k, then it's a super combo in hand for Never Swing. Towa is then 20k crit, and then can give you a double striker attack in the next turn, so you'll be tapping out to do the Mechibura, and then swap into the Dabura and Towa, so you're plussing off the swap, because you're negging 1 in hand by the Mechibura and creating life, which you don't care. You're getting these 2 back into hand without losing any cards from hand, and then plussing 1 by then plussing by, you plus by 3 off this, because you neg from hand to play the Mechibura tapping 2. You then play out these 2, so you got +2 on board. You then swing with them. You swap them out, so then you go +1 in hand, where you had 1 Mechibura in hand that you used to get these 2 out on board and back in hand. Actually, now you're swapping out for these 2, so you technically still neg 1 in hand, but then this one will draw, the Dabura will draw, netting you a +1, and then the Towa +1, so you technically do +1 off that whole thing, but then put some pressure, because you get a 20k crit swing for Towa, a 15k from Dabura, a 20k while also making him warp 1 from hand with Dabura, and then 2 15k swings off Towa, plus your leader swing as well, giving you what a good 6 swings in turn 2, and then if that all survives and doesn't get removed in your next turn, you got another Mechibura, you can do it again next turn, put a lot of aggression with an extra energy to do stuff depending on what you have. So this deck is like a very high roll deck, where if as long as you can get the Unison and Mechibura turn 1, 2 and go on curve, it could be very good, and as long as you don't brick, it could be quite fun. And it's a fun black deck you can play for fun things like locals and stuff, which yeah, is nice. And not with the format being a bit more open now, we can try out more things without worrying if Sin or Gojira are going to clap you. So that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.